अंधी आंखों बहरे कानों को मेरा शोएब कुरैशी सलाम। मैं थोड़ा सा गैप के बाद आ रहा हूँ दोबारा। चक्कर ये लोग ये बोलते हैं कि यार आप कहाँ गायब हो जाते हो। गायब होने का सवाल नहीं है, सवाल ये है एक तो लाइफ बहुत बिजी है, दूसरे क्या बोले पाकिस्तान के लिए। आई हैव गिवन अप ऑन इट। पाकिस्तान का कोई इलाज नहीं है सिवाय एक के जो मैं कहता आ रहा हूँ, इनकलाब, वो भी ब्लडी इनकलाब। 15 से 20 हज़ार बंदे ऊपर से उड़ाएं आप, तब जाके मुल्क से लगा। ये मुल्क कैन गेट बैक टू इज सपोज टू बी। ये मुल्क से हाथ से बाहर निकल गया मुल्क, और इसीलिए मैं बहुत नाउम्मीद नहीं होना चाहिए, लेकिन नाउम्मीद हो के बल्कि सीम लाइक वी टॉकिंग टू द वॉल्स। वहाँ पर पाकिस्तान में जो खुल्ला इतनी बदमाशियाँ हो रही हैं कि आप समझ में नहीं आता कि ये मुल्क है या ये कोई ऐसा बिजनेस है जो कि माफिया चला रही है। इट्स माफिया रनिंग बिजनेस। एक तो ये मैं इससे तंग आ गया हूँ यार। एक्सटेंशन किसी की भी नहीं होनी चाहिए, चाहे वो चीफ जस्टिस हो, चाहे वो आर्मी चीफ हो, चाहे वो इलेक्शन कमीशन हो। जबकि एक्सटेंशन आप एक बंदे की एक्सटेंशन में देते हैं ना, उससे कितने लोग हक मारा जाता है, जिनका बारी आती है, जिनको आगे बढ़ना होता है, कितने लोग हक मारा जाता है। तो एक्सटेंशन किसी सूरत में नहीं मिलनी चाहिए, इट शुड बी इलीगल। लेकिन तो यहाँ तो इलीगल चीज़ें गवर्नमेंट ने लीगल कर दी हैं और करते जा रहे हैं। सो आई डोंट नो व्हाट टू से, इट्स जस्ट डिसअपॉइंटिंग। कल या परसों ये आपका बंदर वज़ीर आज़म जो आ रहा है यहाँ पे आया हुआ है, तकरीर करेगा अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा के अंदर। तो बाहर काफ़ी बड़ा जो एहतजाज है उसकी तैयारी हो रही है। लेकिन क्या होना, ये इतने बेगैरत और बेशर्म हो गए ये सारे लोग, आर्मी चीफ से लेके काजी फायस ईसा, वज़ीर आज़म नवाज शरीफ, यानी भुट्टो जरदारी, उन्होंने उतार कर रख दिया। शर्म नाम की कोई चीज़ नहीं है। उन्होंने देख लिया कि बेगैरत कौम है, बेगैरत कौम के सामने क्या शर्म करना। सो आई गेस जैसी कौम होती है वैसे उसके ऊपर हुक्मरान रह जाते हैं। जस्ट वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग, वेरी डिसहार्टेड। आई डोंट नो। मैं तो गिव अप कर चुका हूँ, ऑलमोस्ट गिव अप कर चुका हूँ। जब तक कोई बड़ा इंकलाब नहीं आता इस पाकिस्तान का कुछ नहीं बनेगा। दिस इज़ माई सेइंग, मे बी आई एम रॉन्ग बट लेट्स सी। जहाँ तक यहाँ का ताल्लुक़ है, यहाँ पे अपना आपके वो जो हैं ट्रम्प साहब सीधे साधे आगे जा रहे हैं। बाइडेन साहब फाइनली पीछे हट गए, उनकी जगह कमला हैरिस आ गई हैं। लेकिन लगता है ट्रम्प ही जीतेगा। आई डोंट थिंक शी हैज़ अ चांस। और ट्रम्प जो जीतेगा तो इज़ इट गुड? आई डोंट थिंक सो। लेकिन इसके अलावा कोई ऑप्शन भी नहीं है। सो लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपन, क्या होता है। इस वक्त मुकाबला टफ है, लेकिन ट्रम्प इज़ गोना विन। I don't want him to win. Just make sure that people understand. I don't like him. He's an a-hole. But this is writing is on the wall that he's going to be next president again. जहाँ तक अपना इज़राइल का और फ़लस्तीन का और लबनान का ताल्लुक़ है, वहाँ तो सब कुछ बेकाबू हुआ है। कल इज़राइल ने इतनी ख़तरनाक बमबारी की है लबनान पे, तकरीबन 600 के करीब बंदे मर चुके हैं और तकरीबन 2000 के करीब बंदे ज़ख्मी हो चुके हैं। उन ज़्यादा ज़ख्मियों में भी ज़्यादा जो है ख़तरनाक तशवीशनाक हालत में है। और दुनिया बैठी है, देख रही है, कुछ नहीं कर रही। क्या करेंगे, कुछ नहीं कर सकते। दैट्स हाउ इट इज़। लेकिन ये वीलॉग जो मैंने किया ना, मैंने ऐसी चीज़ें बताने के लिए कि ये वीलॉग मैंने आपको एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री दिखाने के लिए किया है। ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री किसी ने मुझे भेजी है, जिसकी भी है, मेरे पास उसके राइट्स तो नहीं है, बट आई एम गोना स्टिल पोस्टेड। अगर कोई बोलता है कि पोस्ट ना करो तो हटा देंगे, लेकिन यू मस्ट वॉच दिस डॉक्यूमेंट्री। ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री है एक अपने पाकिस्तान के बारे में, कि पाकिस्तान किस तरह इस हालत में पहुंचा है, किसने बनाई, आई डोंट नो किसने बनाई, आई हैव नो आइडिया, लेकिन इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्री। यू मस्ट वॉच दैट। चलें दिखाते हैं आपको डॉक्यूमेंट्री।
If an airplane took off a dozen times only to come crashing down each time, the only logical conclusion would be that the aircraft requires a fundamental redesign. Pakistan's economy, like the airplane, has crashed 23 times in the last 75 years, each time requiring an International Monetary Fund bailout. It wasn't always so. During the 1980s, in per capita terms, Pakistan was richer than India, China and Bangladesh. Today, however, Pakistan is the poorest. Its most recent gross domestic product growth estimate was only 2%, barely sufficient to keep pace with population growth. Currently, Pakistan is facing an economic crisis fueled by high global oil prices, rising agricultural imports, and economic mismanagement. Pakistan's year-on-year inflation hit a record level of 36.5%.
Pakistan's year-on-year inflation hit a record level of 36.5% in April 2023, and this is the highest ever increase in nearly 60 years.
In line for another IMF bailout, it is clear Pakistan is an IMF addict, and the IMF is a Pakistan addict. Pakistan's economy seems to be impossible to fix. The symptoms of each bailout are very much the same. Pakistan runs out of dollars, goes to the IMF for a bailout, which the IMF gives on the condition that the IMF program will include privatization of state-owned enterprises, austerity, and a broadening of the tax net. None of these issues actually resolves the primary issue in Pakistan's economy, which is the fact that Pakistan's elite are unproductive and the decision-making process in the country is broken. As a result, after finishing one IMF bailout, Pakistan usually starts its next. In this video, we will analyze the deep-rooted structural defects which are slowly leading to the demise of Pakistan. First, let's take a look at why Pakistan is the IMF world champion with a record 23 bailout packages. Pakistan is chronically short of dollars for various surface-level reasons. The federal government is effectively bankrupt and has been for a very long time. Last year, the sum of interest payments due on the government's debt obligations and pension payments owed to retired employees was more than the federal government's net revenue. The entire government machinery, which is severely bloated, is running on borrowed money. That borrowed money is not in Pakistani rupees, which is easier to manage, but in foreign currencies. Pakistan faces $25 billion of external debt payments in the fiscal year starting July, about 3 times its foreign exchange reserves. For most of Pakistan's history, the majority of tax revenues are allocated to debt servicing, defense, and civil administration. Additionally, Pakistan has to import both food and fuel. So after paying debt, defense, administration, and importing food and fuel, Pakistan has nothing to spend on large-scale asset creations such as dams, canals, power plants, or even education or public health. Pakistan also has one of the lowest tax-to-GDP ratios at just 10%, with less than 1% of the population paying income tax. These imbalances are worsened by the fact agricultural income, real estate, and retailers are hardly taxed for political reasons, which we will explore later. For a very long time now, Pakistan has not been able to generate enough tax revenue to meet its growing appetite for expenditure, and therefore usually borrows even more money at even higher interest rates to run the country for another year. So on average, every 4 years, Pakistan is alarmingly short of foreign exchange and goes to the IMF for a bailout. The IMF often provides Pakistan with the generic advice it provides most countries: to increase tax revenues, tighten monetary policy, and try to have a fiscally disciplined budget. Although this might help Pakistan, it does not solve the root cause of the issue, which is that Pakistan is one of the most unproductive countries in the world. There sits an elite class at the apex of every economy. As a rule of thumb, the more productive and entrepreneurial the elite, the more dynamic and robust an economy is. If the elite becomes more productive, everyone gains. India's elite, such as Mukesh Ambani and Gautam Adani, sit at the head of vast corporate industrial empires. America's elite innovate and create entirely new economic fields, such as space travel, whilst Pakistan's elite earns from unproductive enterprises, such as land, housing schemes, and sugar. Just take a look at the list of the richest Pakistanis in the world. They have either made their empires overseas, such as Shahid Khan, who created a world-leading automotive parts manufacturer in the US, or they sit at the head of political dynasties like Nawaz Sharif, who earned their fortune from crony capitalism and corruption. Even the industrialists on Pakistan's rich list are unproductive and usually make their fortune through cornering Pakistan's domestic markets, which is protected by high tariffs in industries such as ceramics, textiles, or cement. as opposed to exporting or innovating. A recent UN development report cited the yearly economic privileges going to Pakistan's elite groups, including feudal landlords, the political class, and the country's military, adds up to $17.4 billion, or roughly 6% of the country's economy. These privileges take the form of tax breaks, cheap input prices, and preferential access to capital. Is almost impossible to scale back, since most political parties draw candidates from these elite groups. Thus, the moneyed elite tip the scales of the market in their favor through unfair business practices, tax evasion, and preferential access to power. The unproductive, rent-seeking elite has given Pakistan one of the lowest investment rates in the world, and over the years destroyed Pakistan's economy. Think about it. Why would you invest in new machinery and try to export goods when you can corner the domestic market with relative ease and use your position in society to ensure competitors are kept out? A prime example of Pakistan's lazy and unproductive industrial elite is the auto industry. As part of an import substitute policy, the automotive industry is heavily protected by the government, which to some extent has worked, as Pakistan only imported $1.26 billion worth of cars last year. Where the policy fails is in exporting. Pakistan ranks 125th in the world for automotive exports, with a measly $1 million in car exports. Nor has this policy been able to provide consumers with automobiles on par with the rest of the world. There is a complete lack of competition in the automotive industry, with a near duopoly from Honda and Toyota, which has resulted in high prices. Additionally, Pakistan's imports are still high as ever, as although cars are not being imported, the input materials to manufacture automotives are. Thus, a small section of society is earning a fortune by cornering the automotive market, providing consumers with high prices, limited alternatives, and more importantly, no exports. All the while, importing billions of dollars of intermediate goods, such as metals, plastic, and rubber, to manufacture the cars at the expense of the national exchequer. Perhaps the worst of Pakistan's productivity woes is in the form of the real estate industry. Instead of investing in technology, innovation, and export-based sectors to support the economy and create opportunities for the middle class, businessmen invest their capital in buying urban land and turning them into housing societies. The real estate industry in Pakistan is hardly taxed due to political reasons which will be discussed in the next section, but by undertaxing properties, Pakistan's tax system incentivizes the elite to invest in urban property as opposed to more productive enterprises. Just how undertaxed is Pakistan's real estate industry? Well, Punjab province in Pakistan, with a population of over 100 million, collects less urban property tax than the city of Chennai in India, which is home to about 10 million people. The real estate mania is not just limited to the elite. Middle-class Pakistanis would rather invest in a plot of undeveloped land, wait for the value to increase, and sell, earning from the capital gains, which is essentially untaxed, as opposed to investing in the stock market or a productive, job-creating enterprise. This unproductive elite and plot-investing middle class further burden the exchequer, since Pakistan has very high levels of consumption for a country in its financial predicament. Pakistan imports every luxury item in the world at the behest of the elite class. Children of judges, bureaucrats, and feudal landlords have an import-heavy diet of branded attire, imported phones, and cosmetics. As a result, dollars go out of the country and import bills touch the skies. This year alone, no less than $8 billion was squandered on the import of non-essential goods. Whilst the world's business elite are colonizing space, building electric cars, and investing in green energy, Pakistan's billionaires are competing with one another in building housing societies, and this is slowly killing Pakistan. Why, you might ask, does Pakistan not start taxing unproductive sectors of the economy and use the revenue to fund more productive enterprises? And here lies the real issue with Pakistan. Pakistan's political system is completely broken. Political parties are not professional, don't have long-term plans or visions, nor do they create manifestos or have representation from the middle class. The Pakistan National Assembly is largely made up of feudal landlords, political dynasties, and business elite, who instead of trying to create a more productive economy with more competition, believe in lottery tickets that will magically fix all their problems, such as developing Gwadar, CPEC, and finding oil. To add to this, Pakistan's military has a history of involvement in running the country, whether through military dictatorships or by pulling the strings behind the scenes. Thus, to be a politician in Pakistan, you do not have to develop a manifesto and deliver for the public, as most of the time, the military simply replaces one set of corrupt politicians with another in order to sustain its own power base. Take a brief political history of Pakistan, where no prime minister has ever completed a term. Nawaz Sharif was forcibly removed from power in 1999 by military dictator Pervez Musharraf, who ruled until 2007. After a short interval, Nawaz Sharif regained power in 2013, however was removed in what can be called a soft coup in 2017, where the military pulled strings to jail Sharif and install Imran Khan as Prime Minister in 2018. Imran Khan's rule lasted until 2022, where he was removed in another soft coup when the military withdrew support for Khan's government in favor of, you guessed it, Nawaz Sharif's Muslim League Party, led by his brother Shehbaz Sharif and daughter Maryam Nawaz. Aside from the political instability which deters foreign direct investment, Pakistan does not have a system that punishes incompetent politicians who refuse to enact change in the country. As long as they are on good terms with the military, regardless of performance, they will be elected. The military's involvement goes beyond politics and extends into business as well. Years of military rule have allowed the Pakistan Army to create a corporate empire boasting revenues of billions of dollars. This empire includes 2 of the top 10 companies by market capitalization on the Karachi Stock Exchange, Fauji Fertilizer and Mari Gas. The crown jewel of the Pakistan corporate empire is its real estate developing business. The Defense Housing Authority, operated by the military, is the leading real estate developer in Pakistan, handling the most desirable properties in Lahore, Islamabad, and Karachi. The business enables the military to acquire land at low costs, often from the government it oversees, and sell it at a huge profit which is, of course, barely taxed and is mostly then invested overseas or spent on imports. Something as simple as agricultural policy is also skewed to benefit the elite as opposed to creating a more stable economy. Despite having millions of acres of arable land, Pakistan is a net food importer due to extremely low agricultural productivity and backward agricultural policies. For instance, sugarcane, which is one of the most water-intensive crops, is grown on nearly 2.5 million acres of arable land in Pakistan. This makes no economic sense for a country with a very serious water shortage, as well as a country that has to import food. But because many sugar mill owners sit in the National Assembly and profit from Pakistan's highly protected sugar market, nothing can be done. Thus, why would the military and political elite, which is profiting billions of rupees from Pakistan's unproductive economy, allow this system of easy money to change? The incentives of the ruling elite do not align with long-term development goals and are entirely focused on maximizing short-term returns. Unfortunately, it is this ruling elite nexus of politicians, landowners, businessmen, and the military which refuses to allow Pakistan to become a more robust and productive economy. You may be wondering how Pakistan has managed to survive this long and narrowly avoided economic collapse multiple times. This is not due to structural changes or policy initiatives, but due to the fact that Pakistan has been able to repeatedly monetize its geostrategic location. For instance, during the 1980s to 1990s, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan allowed Pakistan to earn billions of dollars in US aid to fight off the Soviets. Once the Soviets withdrew, the US stopped giving aid and Pakistan's economy began to crumble again. By 2001, on the brink of collapse, the US invaded Afghanistan and began providing billions in aid again. More recently, China has been providing billions in loans to try to strengthen Pakistan as a check against India. Additionally, millions of overseas Pakistanis in the Gulf region and the West send billions of dollars in remittances, keeping the economy afloat. However, hoping for a bailout or miracle is not an economic strategy, and eventually, Pakistan will have to take steps towards building a more productive and inclusive economy. The only question is, will it be too late? I've been your host, Albert. If you have enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. Until next time.